Hoje nós estamos aqui com o Justin Biggs, da banda Sorcerer, e meu nome é Marcos, e sejam bem-vindos a um novo episódio aqui de gravações da Headbangers News. So, how are you, Justin?
I'm just well, thank you. Enjoying the sun while I can.
Great. Well, congratulations for this new record with Sorcerer, Lamenting of the Innocent. Well done, man.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really proud of it.
And you entered the band right after the crowning of the Fire King. How were you invited to the band, and how much pressure did you feel to compose and be part of the band?
Well, I was approached by Johnny, who is the original bass player of Sorcerer, Johnny Hagel. And I've known Johnny for about 13 years. He's a good friend of mine. And yeah, he was wanting to take a step back. Basically, he kind of asked me what I was up to. And then I got an email from Kristian Niemann, who's the guitar player. And he asked me if I wanted to try out. And I said, of course, yeah, I would love to. And yeah, I mean, it just went really smooth. And then I asked, like, is there anybody else trying out? And they're like, no, well, you got the job. We just wanted to hear how you sound. But there was an enormous pressure because, I mean, I look up to all the guys in the band, you know, Anders, Johnny, Peter, Ricky. You know, they're just these phenomenal musicians. That's, what can I say? Like, they're just Swedish royalty for me. So there was a bit of a nervous new guy pressure when I came into the band. Like, well, I hope my heroes enjoy my bass playing. But yeah, I mean, it went really smooth, and we have a really, really lovely relationship as a band and a great chemistry, I would say. And I think that shines on this record, to be honest. In terms of writing, it was really, really easy going.
And I love the idea of using the theme of the Inquisition and the witch trials to a heavy metal album. It's a very good choice. How did this theme appear for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, Anders has been writing a lot of lyrics, and we were kind of bouncing around ideas after the Fire King. It was like, how do we top such a great record? Because, like I said, I came in after the Fire King, so I was a fan of that album, and I thought, Jesus, that's a monumental record to try and kind of top. And we were just throwing around ideas, and you know, Anders and I were talking about it, and like, oh, okay, you know, witch craze, that would be kind of cool. Like, do we want to do a concept? And at first we were going to do like a full-blown concept, but then we realized like that could like hinder some of the songs, so we decided to make a loose concept instead, where we wrote songs that kind of stand alone on their own, you know, don't follow a specific story. It's just a specific theme, because had we done an all-out concept like The Wall or Operation Mindcrime, you know, you'd have to follow a story, and you'd be kind of, you know, stuck in that rut to follow that story, and we didn't want to do that. It was more along the lines of write some music and let's write something along the theme of this, but not stay to a specific story.
And the blending of Black Sabbath, of the Headless Cross era with Candlemass is still super present. But this time I feel that the record sounds heavier somehow, like on Hammer of the Witches, for example. What do you think changed musically from the crowning of the Fire King to this new record?
Well, I think that there was just a natural cohesion in the band. You know, with the Inverted Cross, that came out and the band gigged a little bit, and Fire King came out and the band gigged a little bit more, but now it felt like the band was hungrier. So we kind of rehearsed a lot, and after all the gigs we've been doing so far, we just thought like, okay, let's go all in. And I think that that we have from like the live presentation, we wanted to kind of deliver that on a record. Like, because if you can't record something or if you can record something but you can't play it live, it's not worth playing, really. You have to be able to reproduce it. And I think that chemistry together, just the energy that we have together, is a bit different Johnny took a step back a while ago. It was after the Fire King, and we experimented with some growling and stuff like that. With we did a song from Inverted Cross called "Exorcise Demons," where I do the growls. I played the character of Satan, and it just seemed to go so well, and that's why we introduced as well, like growling on the record, just in small parts, not to like overdo it, just tasteful moments throughout the record, like in Hammer of Witches or Lamenting of the Innocent, the title track. But I think that overall the progression of the band itself is just responsible for the sound, really. We weren't looking to do a doom record. We weren't looking to do a heavy metal record. We're just doing music that we enjoy to play, and it's just what came out.
And the song Lamenting of the Innocent creates like an ethnic atmosphere with that fat doom riffs and allowing Anders Engberg to weave his vocal spells to intense and enchant. Tell me a bit how this song, is it different when compared to the rest of the songs of the record?
Well, I think that we do it very diplomatically, like when we're writing, we're exchanging ideas, and Lamenting of the Innocent was actually one of Kristian's songs. And, we kind of balled ideas back and forth, just kind of bouncing balls off the wall to see what would stick. And, Lamenting of the Innocent, it just, I don't know, I think Anders just delivered a fantastic vocal performance on this record the whole way through. He just sounds better than he ever has, really, in my opinion. I've listened to Anders sing for the last almost 20 years, and yeah, I think he sounds fantastic on this record. I would attribute pretty much the success of that song to his vocal performance, if I'm going to be honest. And I mean, Kristian and Peter are playing really, really well. Guitars on this one, just trading back and forth. And Ricky and I have a really tight foundation in terms of the rhythm section. Everything fell into place at the right time. And I was writing the lyrics for this song with Anders and Connie. So yeah, everything just kind of went together just naturally. It didn't feel pushed. It didn't feel pressured. It just felt right. And that's what came out. And like I said, Anders delivers the performance of his life here. And I think that he's got definitely a few more years in him, for sure. 20 years, 30 years, I hope. He just sounds better than ever on this record.
Yes, of course. Yes, and Institoris is also great, and I'm sure you showed me the demo for this song on your cell phone, I think. And you told me you helped to compose this one. What can you tell me about this one?
I helped compose Institoris, and basically I had been kind of writing some stuff. And I used like a program called Guitar Pro, and I was just writing some stuff on my bass and kind of just tabbing it. So basically the main riff, that kicks the song off is the one that I wrote. And then I couldn't really come up with anything else because I became too bashful. So I sent it to Kristian and I said, here's the tab, this is the BPM, see what you can do with it. I was thinking something along the lines of Sirens, and he kind of took the riff that I wrote and just ran with it, and he created something absolutely epic and amazing. Kristian, just, what can I say? That guy is like the king of choruses. He knows how to write a chorus.
Yes. And promo material for Lamenting of the Innocent informs that there was an effort to diversify your writing. How did this idea appear?
How do you mean with diversifying the writing?
Yes.
We just wanted to make a good record. Like we wanted to make sure that everybody had their own 2 cents involved. It's a band. There's no I in band, and we wanted to make sure that everybody got their inputs. And that's not only, Anders, Kristian, Ricky, and Peter, myself. It's also Johnny, and we have a guy called Connie Velen, who is also working in the background, so we needed their input as well. So, I mean, we just wanted to make sure that we dotted all the I's and crossed the T's in the right way, and just really make sure that everybody, not just like one specific person in the band, but the whole band was on board with what we were doing. That was really important. we wanted to create something not just in the vein of doom, but kind of explore our musical backgrounds, because we're all very, very, very different. That's how we kind of diversified it, if that's what you meant by the question. We just wanted to make a record that was from us, and not falling into a cookie cutter format of doom.
Yes. And with when you hear like Where Spirits Die and Deliverance, these are power ballads that were put right next to each other. Were these songs an example of how Sorcerer diversifies its music?
Well, I think that we had, like on Crowning the Fire King, an acoustic version or acoustic song called Not Vodka, which is in the middle of the Fire King, and it's just an instrumental piece. And we wanted to do something acoustic, but we wanted to make it fuller, and we wanted to make it a song, an actual song that people can sing to, not just like a one-off piece. And I mean, we were lucky enough to have U1 from Candlemass come in and sing on it and do a duet with the band, of course. And it just felt like the right thing to do. We didn't want to have any filler. We wanted to have just killer. Like no filler pieces, just song after song. And yes, of course, I mean, this is kind of, it's like a power ballad initially, but it in no means is like this 80s hair power ballad. It's still doomy and gloomy. The text and the concept behind it is very dark, and we just wanted to have something that kind of separates, the chaos, and bring things down again before we kind of give you an uppercut and bring you into the next half of the record.
The idea of inviting Johan was something very different. How did the appear of having him on Deliverance appear?
Well, Anders is actually really good friends with Johan's brother. They were in a band together 35 years ago or so. So, I mean, they've always known each other. It wasn't really intentionally done to say, oh, well, we need to have Candlemass's doom singer, which is like, we needed a guy that could sing, and it was so cool at the time. Johan had just made his comeback with Door to Doom with Candlemass, so it just felt so right. Here he is, he's back. He sounds just as good as ever, if not better.
And I love the guitar work, like you mentioned, of Kristian and Peter, especially on the beautiful solo work to open Path to Perdition. And on the back third of Dance with the Devil, oh my God, how do they join these harmonic ideas, man?
Yeah, dude, that's definitely a question for the guitar nerds, I guess. I mean, Kristian phenomenal. They're they're just really, really tight. They're really good friends. They loan each other books, like on scales and stuff like that, jazz guitar or blues guitar. Like, they're just exchanging books and tips, and they just have this really good relationship of building up solos and stuff like that. Just really powerful stuff. And I think you can tell the difference between Kristian stuff. Kristian's more like aggressive in his guitar playing. So when he's playing a solo, it's very, very like it's almost violent the way he bends the strings and his solos. But then Peter is more laid back, melancholic, and it just fits so nice together. But Path to Perdition was written by Kristian. So that first solo that opens the track was all Kristian, and the latter half of Dance with the Devil is actually, that's Peter's song, so he actually wrote the solos on that one. And then they just kind of trade off, and they showed each other their solos, and so.
Yeah, they get nuts together with this.
Yeah, it's an interesting, like when we're sitting in the rehearsal rooms and they're kind of like exchanging solos and stuff.
And the artwork on is very good on Lamenting of the Innocent. Markovic Cousin did this time an awesome work, and there's a woman being oppressed by a priest. How did you guys found this artist?
Dusan is actually someone that Anders found on Facebook. We were kind of looking for some artwork, we didn't want to, looking for like an Eddie for Iron Maiden, but we were looking for something out, And he found Anders found Dusa, and he was just phenomenal. It was like, yeah, this is the guy. This is he's good. He did the Fire King, and he did Lamenting of the Innocent, and it's somebody that I think that we're going to have a lovely relationship. So have Dusa Markovic on board.
Something I've been noticing is that you are helping a lot of bands out to your YouTube channel and promoting them. Tell me, how about the idea appeared to help these bands to promote them a little bit?
Well, when 2020 kind of came around, there was a lot of doom and gloom already in the beginning of it. But then, of course, COVID-19 hit, and it pretty much crippled every market in the world. And I mean, bands like us that are signed to a label, we have a little bit of freedom. We can do some streaming, we can still sell records and stuff via the label, but you have these young and up and coming bands that they do everything themselves basically. And so if the bands that are on like kind of like a middle tier, like I'm not saying Sorcerer is like this super famous band, like we're definitely low tier, but bands that are just starting out and trying to find their footing, they can't play. So I thought, like, why not help these guys out? And I don't hold myself to just metal or death metal or doom metal. I'm broad in what I picked to talk about, but I thought that it was just a good way to help young and upcoming bands, because personally, even though that I love Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, Ozzy, stuff like that, I'm just sick and tired of seeing them do like the fourth farewell tour. I'd like to see some new bands kind of take the reins and run with it and just see something new instead. Because, you can only hear Paranoid or Number of the Beast so many times. It's nice to hear bands that are using, these old classics, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, and making it their own. And I think that that's what's important in music. It has to keep moving forward. We can't just stand on the forefront and listen to like dinosaurs.
Yes, of course.
Let the young ones come through as well, and kind of like they do at the Olympics. They pass the torch before they light the flames.
Yes, of course, yeah. And one of the bands you promoted was a black metal band called Quen. It is such an amazing band.
Jakob, he's living way up in the north of Sweden, and just a fantastic musician. What a guitar player. When I heard The Funeral Pyre, it was the single that he released on the record called The Funeral Pyre, it just bowled me over. You can hear like dissection in it, and just this classic Swedish sound that made the Swedes so dominant in the music business. It's just a phenomenal record. And just that single itself, I could listen to that every day for the rest of my life. Great song. I loved it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And you have also a band called Autumn's Morning, and you already spoiled something that you are writing already material for this band. What is the future of Autumn's Morning now with Lamenting of the Innocent coming out?
All the guys in Autumn's Morning, we're all in different projects and different bands and stuff like that, and for me, Sorcerer definitely takes a precedence over my side projects, of course, but Autumn's Morning, we have all the stuff written. It's done. It's just a matter of recording it, and that's what we're doing now. So the drums are done. We're just waiting on the guitars and stuff like that, because I'd like to sit in with the other guitar player, Stuart, and kind of go through the bass and the guitars and kind of just go through everything before I start recording. But we have a record on the horizon, and Gotland, the EP that we released last year, was really well received. So hopefully, who knows? We're going to do a full-length record and just kind of see what happens.
So this was my last question for today. I hope you have a great one. And I hope everything goes well with Sorcerer, and I hope seeing you in Brazil with the obviously promoting Lamenting of the Innocent, of course.
We would love to come to South America, because South America is one of those places it just feels, with heavy metal and hard rock, it's just home. There's always a home, and the people there are beautiful and amazing, and just, I was there in October last year, and it was just stellar. It was amazing. So I had a blast, and I really want to get Sorcerer over there as well, and I hope that we can. We'll see.
Yeah, you'll see. Thank you so much, Justin.
Obrigado.